The definition of fortitude is courage in pain or adversity. Understanding fortitude isn't easy. It requires one to embrace their situation and find the strength to endure, persevere, and emerge as individuals of great worth. For some, the narrative ends there. For others, it marks the beginning of a lifelong mission to give back.
So many people, hundreds of people that have helped me in one way or another get here. And at some point, you do something to pay it forward. Like, you can't just take. And I think I'll be working the rest of my life trying to be an advocate and help others get to where I've gotten to as a result of the kindness of others.
In the heart of service lies a story of grit and grace. It's where sacrifice meets hope, and where the acts of a few uplift the lives of many. Here we explore the ripple effect of devotion and how it shapes our world, urging us all to find our own path to service. Sergeant Adam Kisielewski, aka Bandit. Marine Corps combat veteran, CEO, father, husband, pilot, and double amputee. Adam lost his right leg and left arm in an explosion while fighting in Iraq. Adam's journey began at a pivotal moment in American history. On September 11, 2001, as the nation faced an unprecedented attack, Adam was a junior in high school. This tragic event solidified his decision to serve his country. Driven by a sense of duty and patriotism, Adam expedited his high school graduation and enlisted in the Marine Corps, embarking on a path that would test his fortitude and shape his future.
When the 9/11 attacks happened, I was a junior in high school, and that really solidified my decision, like, hey, I definitely want to do this. In fact, expedited my high school graduation. I graduated in January of 2002. I was in boot camp in March of 2002.
But you saw that and said, I'm going.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I had signed up, prior to that happening, but the dynamic definitely changed for me in my eyes at that point. Became a lot more real, from joining the Marine Corps in peacetime to, clearly a Marine Corps that's likely to go to war. Different change of mindset, but, younger, dumber days, I was all the more eager to go.
After serving as security detail for 2 years at Camp David, protecting the president and visiting dignitaries, Adam decided to join the war efforts in Iraq.
My fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger.
Every other day, our platoon or one of our sister platoons would get into some sort of conflict, be it an IED attack, some sort of mortar or rocket attack, direct fire, or the occasional direct fire, somebody taking some shots at us and then usually booking out. Yeah, we got into a lot of conflict pretty early on. Took down a lot of doors looking for bad guys, and also looking for weapons cache and those sorts of things.
To truly understand Adam's journey, we sought insight from someone who has been a close mentor and friend, retired 4-star General Dick Cody. General Cody spent 36 years serving in the Army and retired after serving as the 31st Vice Chief of Staff of the United States Army.
When you join the military, especially the Marine Corps, because they're, the few, the proud, the Marines, you bond and you learn that you belong to something a lot larger than yourself. And I think Adam grew up quite a bit at his basic training, and then certainly when he was a team leader and squad leader in Iraq in combat, with lives of fellow Marines were in his hands. I think those type of responsibilities early on a young fella really develops him, and it developed him in the right way.
Talk me through the day of the injury, what happened, and walk me through kind of the scenario in which you were in.
Yeah, so leading up to to me getting blown up, about a week earlier, we were staying in this school. So we tended to live out in the communities with the people that we were trying to protect. And we were at this school that was unoccupied, so we stayed there and got attacked. We had, I think somebody fired an RPG at us, and then there was some direct fire. We got into a little bit of a gunfight. Nobody got hurt. It was one of those, type deals where the insurgent shot and then ran. We got some intel that bad guys were back at that school again. There's some graffiti on the walls of the school, and we had, a strong suspicion that something bad was going on there. And it's still a school, inside the community, so we wanted to do what we could to protect it. So we were going through door to door, kind of expecting somebody to be hiding behind one of the doors. And unfortunately, there was a 97-pound artillery round that was rigged to the door of the rooftop. So we opened it up. It exploded. It killed the guy that was with me, Lieutenant James Cathy, and I was fortunate enough to make it out, but got banged up pretty bad, along the way.
As Adam fought for his life, being taken out of Iraq, flown to Germany, and eventually brought back to Walter Reed Medical Center. Although he had survived the explosion, his recovery journey was just beginning. With severe trauma, it was uncertain what life was going to look like.
I think probably 5 or 6 days back stateside before I really started to grasp where I was and that I was safe. I remember they had to write notes, in the hospital, monitors like, hey, you're in the U.S., you're safe. Because there's just these constant moments of, failure to recognize where I was and that I was safe. I remember the first sleep that I got was as a result of my father-in-law, who was also a Marine, like posting up, and then kind of keeping guard outside my room. Otherwise, I just would refuse to try to sleep or rest in any way. I just felt like I had to be awake and alert. And trying to come back to a U.S. mindset, straight from war zone was a real challenge. At that time, my left leg was so badly injured, they thought that I might still lose that. And my right leg was injured so high up, they thought that even though I still have my right knee, I might lose that as well or not be able to use it. It's a lot of uncertainty with what my outcomes were going to be. And I think the biggest challenge at that point was my guys were still over in Iraq, so the uncertainty of their future, knowing that they could still get hurt or killed, and whenever guys from our company did, it was a really big challenge. A lot of survivor's guilt for being, alive when the guy who was with me wasn't. And then, being home in a safe environment when, my team, my subordinates, were still out, where it was dangerous.
And during that time period, did you have people coaching you through kind of how to work through this and how to kind of, get back to, a stable place mentally and obviously physically?
Yeah, I had a great support network. Very early on, I recognized how many people were looking out for me, many of whom I'd never met before in my life, and many of them I'd never meet. I got lots of letters, and got to see kind of the other side of the coin in terms of when I was in D.C. You see a lot of war protesters and people that didn't particularly approve of my job or what we were doing. And then having been injured, I got to see the other side of the community that just really genuinely appreciated the sacrifice and wanted to do whatever they could to help. And so getting to work with some of those people kind of made it worthwhile. Not that I ever want to get blown up, if given a choice, but I've met some of the most remarkable people in my life as a result of being blown up. And to have to throw those relationships aside to not be blown up would be something I'm not sure I'd be terribly prepared to do.
Despite the immense challenges, Adam began the difficult journey of rebuilding a life as a civilian, where financial stability and providing for his family's future became a new concern.
I wasn't making as much money as I had anticipated making because I was no longer in a combat zone. So that was a tremendous amount of stress. So these community fundraisers that they put together, kind of allowed my wife to take time off of work and, come be down in the hospital with me when I needed her, and allowed us to kind of put a little bit of money in the bank to put towards a down payment on a home, which was, incredibly important to me.
Although Adam managed to gather financial resources to buy a home, he quickly realized that a traditional house layout posed a significant challenge to him as an active husband and father. That's when Homes for Our Troops stepped in, an organization that builds and donates specialty adapted custom homes across the nation for severely injured post 9/11 veterans, helping them rebuild their lives. What's it like giving homes to veterans?
Our tagline is building homes, rebuilding lives. And so just like Adam, we never leave them. They're all part of the family. We teach them how to own a home. We stay with them. We touch base with them every month.
I can't believe that this many people care about me or my family, and it's really a humbling experience to have so many people around to support something like this.
And so when you say, what's it like when you hand a young family, or in some cases a wounded veteran who is totally wheelchair bound and his mother's going to be the caregiver, and we hand them the keys to a brand new mortgage-free, specially adapted home, it's probably the most solemn ceremony that I ever attend. And I've attended a lot of ceremonies in my 37 years. But you change lives for the good.
Homes for Our Troops, like I said, came through about that point in time and really made it possible. Not having a mortgage payment really kind of enabled me to go work on some of these nonprofit boards, and also, as a career, allowed me to go back to school, pursue an education, pursue some different job opportunities, and life-changing to say the least.
I would sit back and watch this young guy connect with these other fellow wounded veterans, and he'd talk about how he got his master's degree, how he got his pilot's license, running No Person Left Behind. And his message to them was, you're not disabled, you just have a new normal. And you need to not look back at the things you can't do anymore, but look at all the new things you can accomplish. And it's very inspirational to listen to him talk and connect with these young people, something I couldn't do because I haven't walked in their shoes. And that speaks volumes about who he is as a person and what type of spirit he has.
Going from, providing security for the first family and the president and visiting heads of state, and then operating in Iraq, to suddenly, you just got to go to PT and OT or whatever. He did not get the same sense of job satisfaction. And at some point, I think I felt like this moral obligation to do something to pay it forward, and not really even being a decision that required a whole lot of reflection. It was just, I have to do this. Ultimately, that's kind of what landed me in the nonprofit world. In a million years, I never would have imagined that I'd be working in nonprofit, but it's been equally rewarding to my time in the military.
After being helped by so many to rebuild his own life, Adam Kisielewski's new mission became clear: to pay forward the support he once received. In 2019, he joined No Person Left Behind Outdoors, a transformative organization dedicated to helping wounded veterans find strength and purpose through outdoor adventures. As their first full-time employee and later as president and CEO, Adam's goal was to continue to grow the No Person Left Behind Outdoors community while expanding the amazing activities and experiences offered to their members.
Whether it's intro flights in helicopters or bush plane adventures, whitewater rafting, horseback riding, motorsports, and aviation. We do a lot of hiking and mountaineering. Earlier this year, we climbed Mount Kilimanjaro over in Tanzania. We've done all sorts of pretty cool activities. Again, not really about the activities, it's just trying to get veterans into a positive environment with other veterans going through similar challenges.
What's it like just seeing a change in somebody, somebody that you know is going through a lot, and being able to take them somewhere in the outdoors and some kind of activity and and seeing that turnaround. What's that like for you?
That's been incredibly rewarding, getting to see, the impact that you make. And, I think sometimes we grasp, the impact, and sometimes we don't. But I've heard from a few veterans that we've gotten out that said, your organization's making a bigger difference than, in fact, I was thinking I was going to kill myself this weekend, and you guys being insistent and getting me out, showed me that life can go on and there's a purpose. And so there's a handful of veterans over the years that I'm pretty certain wouldn't be with us today if not for what we're doing, and that's been an incredibly satisfying feeling. So it's been really rewarding across the board. My life is more fulfilling than it ever was before I got injured. And if you think about that in terms of was it worth an arm and a leg, it definitely was.
He's paying it forward.
What does service mean to this country?
Well, I think it's very, very important. And I tell people all the time, you don't have to wear a uniform to serve this country. You don't have to spend a lot of time telling us veterans, thank you for your service. What we'd rather see is just being a good citizen and being a good neighbor, and obeying our norms that somehow have gotten so gray, I think is important. And I think guys like Adam show people what right looks like and what it really means to be an American, our freedoms, our liberties. And young men and women will wrap themselves around the flag and say, America, send me. And you don't have to go into combat as an American citizen, but we ought to live our life every day worthy of what they sacrifice.
In the end, one of the greatest measures of a life is the impact you made during your time here on Earth. Did we put the needs of others before ourselves? Did we make an impact on the lives around us? Did we try and give more than we took? Adam is still in the fight, and although he has given so much, there's no end in sight for Sergeant Adam Kisielewski.
The theme I think that we've covered is really all about people providing service to other people, and I'm fortunate to get to do that, as a result of people looking out for me. I guess the only thing I'd reiterate is you always end up getting more out of the service that you provide others than you put into it. It sounds silly and cliche, but whatever, your skill set, your ability, your means, if you can do something to help other people out, you really ought to do that for your own selfish reasons. It's great to help other people, but you really will benefit yourself, and I really appreciate this opportunity to just share my appreciation to all those people that have looked out for me.
When I wake up in the morning, I know I'm going to work to change someone's life, to make it better, to make it whole. So the good Lord gave me a talent, and now I know what my purpose in life really is.